Hello, welcome to the first ever Ink Naturally session from Reinhausen. We've just moved this week, so it's great to take the time from all the children and the packing and unpacking and be here with you. Yeah, it's been a lot of stuff going on. I've built an entire kitchen this week and been rebuilding all the furniture that I took apart a couple of weeks ago. And so we've moved in, and today going to be drawing together. So I see there's a few eyes watching already. Who's here and where are you? So as I just mentioned, I'm in Reinhausen, which is close to Göttingen in central Germany. And it's a pretty special place here. I think we've made a good move coming here. Out our kitchen window, we can see these sandstone cliffs with vines and ivy growing over them. And as we were eating this evening, Iken looked out the window and he's like, "Is that a ghost going up through the crack of the rocks?" And we saw a raccoon out of our kitchen window climbing up inside the crevice of this sandstone rocks. So yeah, there's deer here, raccoons, badgers, foxes, squirrels, lots of plants. So there's a lot of exciting new things to explore here. And I really look forward to seeing what the next year will bring, what kind of inks I'll be able to make here and share with all of you. So Cindy, Stina from Copenhagen, nice to have you here. Beate, awesome. Beate just moved as well. Yeah, Sketchy, you're very welcome. I was just thinking about it. It's so turbulent, and then it's so great just to come here, and I have my time away from the kids, as wonderful as they are. It's totally wild. So it's good to take time to be here. Canada, New Zealand, up nice and early. Carolyn, nice. Tom from Connecticut. Katarina in Croatia, nice to have you here. Annette and Sim, awesome. So you may have heard, or may have already had that internal clock telling you that Inktober is coming up soon. So every October is Inktober, and it's just like a month-long ink party, which is totally exciting. And something in the past years I have never made through doing every day. But this time, I'm one of the featured artists in the Inktober 2020 Portrait Challenge. And so I'm going to do it. I'm going to be sharing with you, and I'm going to be participating and following Vin Ganapati and Atul, can't remember your last name, sorry, but following along with your classes. It's going to be awesome. And so today, I thought it would be really fun to draw one of the other featured artists, Atul. Here he is. Just a fun little side note, my oldest son's middle name is Atul. So that's a nice little coincidence. Cool, thank you, Sketchy. Just put up the link. So join the Inktober 2020 Portrait Challenge here. It's going to be a very exciting, inky, portrait-filled October. So that's going to be totally cool. Hi Karen, thanks for joining. It's really hot. It's cooled down a lot here in the past couple of weeks. Yeah, and Atul won't be able to join us tonight, but yeah, I asked him if there was anything I could share, and he said that that it feels pretty weird to be the muse, because he's so used to usually being on the other side of the paper and doing the drawing. And if you don't know his work yet, then definitely check him out on Instagram and Sketchy. Atul Isotalo, Isotalo. Check him out. Amazing work, and I'm really excited to be learning from him this October. And yeah, he's said he's also really looking forward to our classes together. So it's going to be lots of fun. Just to let you know, today I am using my paper, which I use every week. And today I thought maybe I should try some other paper some week. It'd be interesting to maybe do some hot press. So this is a watercolor paper, cold press, Hahnemühle anniversary edition. I think they may have stopped making it, but they have a very similar one, which is even a heavier paperweight, which is cool because it can get really wet without getting warped. I have some poppy petal ink, which I made for the Ink Naturally class in June. Yeah, there's the spelling of all of our names for the Inktober session. It's going to be awesome. This is my poppy petal ink, and I haven't opened it, I think, since June, so it'll be nice to use it again, see how it's looking. And I have some lemon over here, which is a fun modifier. And I have some unlabeled, very dark looking ink here, which I presume is like some acorn ink, but I'm not really sure. I've just recently, just this year, started labeling my inks, and a lot of them are just kind of mystery jars, which is also fun, just to open it up and see what we've got to work with. And since I've got the poppy petal ink here, I thought it would be fun and something different to start by like flooding the background and basically do like a negative shape, just concentrate on getting the form of the outline of the head, and then just flood the background with poppy petal ink and drop a little lemon into it. So I'll just get into that, and hopefully it will have some time to dry. Interesting to notice in this reference, I think it's maybe a bit of iPhone distortion, is that the ear is maybe a bit smaller than it would be in real life. Maybe it's not an iPhone, I don't know. But it's important to practice from life and draw from life and notice where you can kind of compensate for things. But it's also cool just to draw and have fun. And but that was just something I was like, is his ear really that size in relation to the rest of his face? Maybe it's the lens compression there. Yeah, I'm going to start with a stick pen. So I have one of my Elder pens, which I love. I'm going to move my paper over so you can see more of what I'm doing. And I thought it'd be interesting to get the outline and then just kind of flood it out into the surrounding extents of the paper. Oh, awesome. Charlotte just made avocado ink. That's super cool. What's everyone else using? I'd love to know what you're using. Avocado ink has such a lovely color. So that's great, Charlotte, that you've gotten into that. So I'll take my poppy petal ink here and start drawing I'll just start from kind of this corner of the hair. Hairstyles don't always have a corner, but I feel like there's a bit of a corner happening over here. I'm just going to be nice and thick and inky so then I can really flood out into the surrounding area. Yeah, so this week, moving in has been just packed with furniture building and the kids, because having kids, it's got this precious time. Oh, I'm starting to draw into the ear. I didn't want to do that. This precious time to get things done, and they're not very helpful in a construction kind of context. Of course, they would like to help, but it's good to use the time when they're away to get things done. Jonathan Colt, nice to have you here. Seen some awesome stuff that you're doing with your kids. in the Ohana Art Institute. That's very cool. Stina's got the pencil out. Good old pencil. Been doing some lovely pencil sketches. I've seen. I haven't been as active on Instagram recently, and sketchy, and the internet in general with everything else that's going on. But Stina, I did admire some of your pencil sketches today. So last week with Amber, I started with the glasses, which is a thing that I often do, and so it's often fun to mix it up by doing something totally different, and just focusing on the outline and the kind of peripheral extent. I want to get a bit of orientation here, so I don't end up going too wide with the face, just kind of looking kind of at the ear, roughly, like how far I want to go out. Let's say the other side of the face is here today, because it can be pretty easy to overshoot things when you've got no kind of internal structure and reference in the face to hold on to. Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to Inktober in November as well. I'm kind of hoping that this month is going to normalize a bit. Like since March this year, the whole year's just been kind of mad, and then moving as well, and just like I've got this big wall of work that I haven't been able to get done the last few months, and then there's so much to get done, and then there's going to be Inktober and the next Ink Naturally session. So there's so much happening. Life is very full at the moment, which is great. So it's interesting just to pay attention to the different shapes as we're drawing around here. So find, okay, this is the ear stepping out here, and then the glasses, and even though we're not filling in the details yet, I'm not, just to notice certain like landmarks and anatomical things that are happening. And if we get them in an interesting place, that's going to help us as we come back to the rest of the portrait. So this is cool. Because I'm going to flood the background, then I won't have anywhere to rest my hand if I want it to be over here. But down in the shirt here, it's kind of going to give me this safe space where I can rest my hand as I draw. And this is something I've done in the past, where at the end I fill the background in these live streams and then flood it with ink and then put lemon juice and magic happens. And so today I thought it would be fun to start with it, and maybe I'll even start with water, and it will just kind of flood and flow even better. This is a nice fat watercolor brush, a Da Vinci Cosmotop Spin size 20, if anyone's interested. Synthetic brush. Recently in Tuesday night drawing sessions, some people were doing watercolor sketches, which I've just like, usually I stick to one ink, just one or two colors, and then there's some amazing work being done where people are whipping out all these colors, and so I thought, yeah, it'd just be fun in future maybe to start experimenting with more brushwork and quick sketches, and So it's fun now. It's the exterior of the image to just kind of get the brush out first. So yeah, putting down some of this poppy petal ink, where I just moved away from had this incredible poppy field across the road. So summer next year I'll definitely be heading back there to hopefully harvest some more poppies, or maybe there are some growing around here too. It'll be fun to explore and find out. Hilda has black walnut ink and turmeric ink. Very cool. Nice mix, brown and yellow. I saw in the little teaser for Inktober, I think Arto is sometimes using a pipette to drop ink in, and just these explosive inky things happening. That looks like a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some more of that in October. Just flicked some of this poppy petal magic across the table. And here's the lemon juice. And with these natural inks, there are different modifiers that we can add which alter the pH value of the inks. So the alkalinity and acidity, which, you know, we often have these papers and it's like acid-free. Look at those explosions of pink gorgeousness. And there's a lot of value placed on acid-freeness in art supplies and stuff. And with these natural inks, I'm often just totally playing around with acidity levels, and because you just get these cool things happening. And it's like a play between abstract color play and chemistry, alchemy, and just experimenting with these different materials, and then having our really controlled, often really controlled drawing styles that we can then combine with it. Okay, Charlotte, that was a really interesting question. A lemon juice. Yum, yum, yum. I don't taste all of my inks, but adding lemon juice is nice. So here's a good question about the avocado ink. I think you mentioned that you just cooked it. Yeah, you boiled it. And while it's boiling, you add baking soda. And it's also, there are recipes that I know of where you use soda ash, or washing soda, I think it's also called. And as I understand, I've not done it myself, but if you bake baking soda, it heats it, and somehow in that heating it turns into, it changes the chemical structure, I guess. And I've found that just by adding baking soda into the boiling water, it instantly darkens and reddens the avocado ink. So it may still work, because you said you were just boiling it. You could put it back on the hot plate and boil it some more, put in, start with a teaspoon of baking soda. I don't know how much you've been cooking, but by adding that while it's boiling, I think the heat and the baking soda then totally change the color into this lovely dark red, which is just such a nice color that we can get from the avocado ink. So I think that may be the issue you've had there. Because the first time I ever made it, it was in the pot, it was cooking, and I just thought, this just looks like dirty water. And then when I put the baking soda in, it frothed up, and once the bubbles were gone, it had just turned into dark, luscious red. So I hope that's going to help you get that dark color that you want. And then it may be an issue of reducing the water content as well. So if you let it simmer and let some of that water evaporate, it should intensify the color too. Let me know if that tip worked for you. I hope it does. Some cool things have happened here as the juice and ink have been flowing around. You're very welcome, Charlotte. Thank you for asking. If anyone else has any questions, just feel free to shoot them out there. I'm happy to answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'm keen to find out and learn some things myself. Okay, so that's gonna do its thing, dry for a bit, and I'll start working into the face with the glasses. I just noticed with the brush, I just kind of took this chunk out of the ear. It's kind of gone inverted instead of this nice curve that I had, but it's okay. So I also have this, I think, acorn ink that I'm going to use now. And it has quite a, it's either acorn ink or charcoal ink. I'm not totally sure. It has a very thick sediment at the bottom, which makes me think it could be charcoal ink, which is something that I am going to share with you in the next Ink Naturally session because it's totally awesome, charcoal ink. But the pigment, unlike the other inks, like the poppy petal ink and other inks that we make, it's a solid pigment, so in the water it separates and you need some kind of binder to hold it together, such as cherry sap or gum arabic. Right, this is looking really nice and black and inky. So switch into that inky mindset. Take care of where I'm putting the marks, or just just roll that. Just be confident. Tap off any excess ink. I can't tell from the smell whether it's. Yeah, I can. I think this is acorn ink. I can smell a bit of rust in there. It's an extremely dark batch of acorn ink. Often has this lovely sepia color. So I'm kind of looking, the bridge of the glasses is off center. Kind of put a line down the middle of the face. It's kind of off center. I maybe even have taken it a bit far over. I'm trying to compensate for that a little bit. Yeah, this is really dark. Awesome. I was thinking for Inktober, I'm gonna make it mostly a month of dark inky inks, because we've made all sorts of amazing different inks, but that's like the classic Inktober thing. It's really like the traditional black ink, which is also nice to return to. I find there's a lot of in these lighter inks have some kind of lenience in the way we work with it, the idea of the permanence of it, and committing to your mark making is something which I think you get a much stronger kind of learning effect when you're using really dark ink. Because with the lighter ones we can compensate a lot. This is it's really nice and dark. So that's why I've kind of maybe slow down a bit to consider these shapes a bit more. Nope, that's still wet, so a bit of bleed out there. I don't know, that might be interesting. Johnny is using a big pen and newsprint. Excellent. The kids do love the new house. Just pop that question up there. The kids love it. It's so different because we used to leave it in one big room basically. So the kitchen, the living room, the office, the dining room, it was just all in one big space, and now we have all these different rooms, and it's just like, I was thinking today about what the interaction of space, how different spaces interact, and the kind of opportunities they present for how to be in a space is a really interesting kind of impact on the day and how we interact with each other and interact with the space. It's totally cool. So yeah, it's really nice being here. Yeah, cool. What Sketchy said, who here has already done the Ink Naturally class? And what would you like to see in follow-up class? So I have lots of ideas, but it would be great to know from people who are already involved and been trying things out, what you would, what else you'd be interested in doing together. Or perhaps if there's anything you have seen of my work, anything in particular that you would like to kind of have a bit more insight into. I think most of what I've shared this year on Instagram has been sketchy work. So the new house is really cool there, and the village. So we used to live in a village, not even a village. What is it? A hamlet. There were 5 houses, no other kids, lots of forest and fields, and now there's still lots of forest and cliffs and giant stones, but there are other people, there are other kids, lots of houses, and so Icon has just been off playing with other kids all afternoon, and it's awesome. Haha. Oh, that's a cool idea, Stina. Some outdoor art. That's a really cool idea. When Arvid was born, about 4.5 years ago, Icon and I would often go out doing land art, making stuff from sticks and stones, and I like the kind of some kind of connection with natural inks and the land art thing, especially with the inks that change over time. Because that's just like land art, that you can create something from stones and leaves and sticks, and over time it will just kind of return to the earth or erode, be blown away. And that's something that I personally find very appealing and liberating, the idea that the things that I create are impermanent. And so creating outdoor art, I think that's an awesome idea. Thank you for that little impulse and input, Stina. So cool. Anything from lakes or oceans? And Johnny says the course was awesome last time. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. There's a lake nearby, near our new place, so maybe I can go check it out. And there are creeks here. It was totally dry where we were before. We were up on a hill, and there was no creeks or water flowing anywhere. So that may open some new interesting opportunities. Anything from lakes or oceans? I collected stuff from the sea when we were on holiday in summer, so maybe there's some stuff that I can make with that too. And going through the forest today, my first visit to the forest in this new place, and there's so many amazing sandstone formations in the forest with trees growing out of these rocks, and so I'm really curious about using the pigment from these stones. So that would be something using just like using charcoal to use stone to make. I guess it's strictly more of a paint than ink, but it's something I'm really interested in exploring. So there might be a little bit of that. Hilda, I'm glad you liked drawing rocks on the beach. That was Stina, who's also here in the chat. It was lots of fun drawing her straight onto the rock. Yeah, Elsa Bigger. That's a cool idea because we have been wondering as well about how to deliver the information about ink making in a timely way so that people are able to, be prepared. I also really, I guess I really like the off-the-cuff kind of, we're just going to do this and see how it goes aspect to things, and that's something I just like, experimenting with things. But I'm also considering doing the approach to the ink making side of things, maybe handling that a little differently. And it was such a smorgasbord of different inks and recipes last time, and so maybe this time it will. This is just an idea. You can all, everyone who's here and interested in the next one, can tell me what you think about it. To maybe focus on a block of classes that all use one ink, and then maybe exploring the variations of that one particular ink and how we can work with it. So then it could be an ink that is prepared for the week or for 3 classes, and then to kind of dive deep into that one ink, because it was a lot of fun doing so much ink cooking with you last time. But I also had, I don't know how it was for all of you, but it was like so much going on, so many recipes, and then all the drawing together. So that was just an idea I had, and you can all feel free to chime in on that, how you think about that kind of focus, because there's a lot of the processes like cooking flower petals that are very similar, and that you can kind of translate or transition over to your other natural materials. Yeah. And so as for the drawing of Artur here, just been focusing on the eyes, and it's got these really lovely wrinkles, and there's a really nice, soft light and shade transition, but I think kind of with the time, there's heaps of time left really, but with this really dark ink, I think maybe kind of focusing on line work is a good thing to do here. Got this awesome little thing happening, which I love, the distortion in the lens of the glasses. Can maybe come back with some more poppy ink later on to put in there. I just think it's so much fun the way glasses often break up the way we perceive the edge of a face. And so there's really a lot of lovely wrinkles and smile lines in here. We can add really nicely with that ink. And I've left the iris blank, kind of wondering what to do. But it's quite dark, so maybe I'm just going to fill it with ink. Cool. Yeah, rocks on the beach was great. Yeah, so much fun. It's such an immediate thing to do, to go to a place, find these rocks, and start drawing on rocks. It's so cool. And today when I was in the forest, I found a fireplace, like some people had a fire, and there was all this charcoal there, and I was like, oh, I could just take some of this charcoal and start drawing on the sandstone. And that's an interesting idea. Mention at the end of a class what's going to be used in the next class. That's cool. I'm always wondering what's it like on the other side of the world, or in different kind of areas, if people don't have access to the same materials. Yeah, cool, Beata. Having the recipe in a separate video um, as a prelude to the class. Yeah, glad you loved the course. Um, yeah, so yeah, as you mentioned, like sometimes it takes 24 hours to prepare a certain ink, so that's not something. We started off with beetroot ink, which you can just that's something that you can just start using immediately. But yeah, it's not all like that. So cool. Thank you for your input. Be mulling over these things and see how we can improve and make the next one awesome. So yeah, the drawing. So just fill in these eyes. It's always a tricky thing, like with you've got these, the pupils, and what kind of, how do you want to handle the eyes? Maybe we'll just leave that undecided a bit longer. And just start looking around where are other places where we can do some fun line work. And so I've got my big flat-edged stick pen here, so how about just start really using that line variation. So this is just spotting kind of at the edge of the glasses and dropping down just below the earlobe. This is awesome wrinkle, fold in the face, kind of like dimple. So just, I don't know, this is an interesting way to just kind of drop a point to take some orientation from where you're going to put your marks in. Oh yeah, thank you, Hilda. Yeah, the book Make Ink is incredible, and if you don't have it yet, I think you should get it because it's such a visual inspiration. It's so wonderful to look at, and it has spot on recipes because I improvise a lot with my recipes, but I will always look back to that book to see to clarify some things, or maybe revisit some recipes, or when I find something new. Like last week, I saw pokeberry for the first time ever, which reminds me I have to hopefully this week take the time to go back and collect some. And because in the book Make Ink, there's this really incredible, vibrant pokeberry ink. And so then I'll just whip out that book, Make Ink, look up the pokeberry ink, and really use that. So Make Ink and The Organic Artist are the two books which I would most strongly recommend. And I have in the Ink Naturally class, there's a recommended reading list because they're just some really wonderful books. What am I doing here? So yeah, there's some really great reference in these books. Some things are not really lining up here the way they are, but it's okay. Just find kind of reference somewhere and then just, I guess, yeah, jumping around. I'm like, okay, I'm doing these wrinkles and corner of the mouth and then up over the nose. I'm like, wait a minute, I think the nose is further over here. So it's interesting to kind of, before I get too dark and nail it down too much, to see if maybe I can step it out a bit further. This is quite dark in the overall scheme of things, and yeah, darkening up some areas. It will, those little hesitation spots here, and I was like, wait a minute, that's wrong. I'm going to move it over here. And when you have some really dark, bold, decisive lines close to these little errors, then it helps kind of balance it out. And I guess that's good, just using these points as like an indication of, okay, is this where I want it to be? And then kind of taking reference of these marks, being like, oh, that's actually a bit off. And then you still have that opportunity to lay your mark somewhere else. Nice to read what's going on in the chat. Stina hears France's voice every time she draws glasses. Beatrice looks like Brad Pitt. Cool. This month, I want to also start German time, Friday mornings, to do a portrait drawing session as well, so that I'll be able to draw with my family in Australia if they want to. And a lot of people from Australia and Hong Kong and various places have been interested in coming to the Tuesday drawing sessions, but it's just not the right time zone. So anyone who is maybe not live watching this right now, but watching the recording, if you're in Australia or different time zones that don't work with my Tuesday night drawing session, then that's something that's going to happen soon. Fridays, which I think in Australia will be Friday afternoon. And I was just thinking about that because we do these 30-second to 6-minute drawings, and then in such a short space of time, you get a portrait done. I'm looking here, and I've got like, in 10 minutes, what have I done? It's just such a different way to draw and look at things, and yeah, it's fun to have a variety and kind of wealth of different experiences to draw from. And it's funny how often I, because I really like the loose approach of the quick drawings and the drawing sessions, and then when I have more time, I often catch myself, or I'm aware of just a really different mindset that I'm in when I'm drawing, and kind of, yeah, just taking more care, more time, and it's just a really interesting kind of contrast to have. And it's nice to see so many names from Tuesday drawing sessions in the chat. Wonderful to draw here with you too. Okay, now is the moment where I'm looking at the eyes and I'm like, these eyes need to be filled in because it's just looking starting to look strange, because the whole area around the eyes is actually quite dark and shadowy, and I haven't done much vertical hatching in a while, so I love it. I'm just filling some of these areas. A bit of that. I feel like I've maybe stretched the head up a bit with the kind of, maybe I could still come in like doing the outline first, but kind of ended up with a interesting shape. Okay, thanks for joining us, Dina. Dawn, the Tuesday sessions on Instagram and the Instagram stories, I always share stuff there. And on Instagram or Sketchy, if you follow the link to my link tree, it's also in there, and it's 7:30 German time. Just addressing your question. And I'm thinking for the Friday ones, it'll be 9:30 in the morning German time. And it's you can use any material you like, and I think for any skill level, especially at any stage, but I think if people don't have a lot of experience doing portraits, I think it's great to get a lot of experience by doing a lot of sketches, and doing it live is just so much fun together, because we get to chat in real time and tell stories with each other, and that's been the prompts for the poses the last few weeks, is that we've all been sharing stories from our week, and then people will strike a pose inspired by something that has happened in the past week somewhere in the world from someone who's drawing with us, and that's it's a nice way to have a COVID-19 friendly social life. And even if Corona wasn't a thing, I still think it would be super fun. I'm going to drop this hairline down a bit with some more poppy petal ink. It's just like so stretched out that just need to compensate for that a bit. It's just starting to look too weird for me. I think maybe next week or in future it would be fun to do the kind of the quick timed sketch approach, because it's something I've just done so much recently that I feel like I've it'd just be interesting to show and do together this approach to drawing that in a very short space of time can get some really fun and cool results. So it's interesting with the shadows in this photo. There's this really like a lot of lovely subtle shift in value, and I think I often tend to really enjoy drawing from reference which has a super clear separation of the light and shadow side of things. It's an instantly accessible, easy way to understand the form that we're drawing. But it's interesting when it's not such a strong contrast to train our eyes to find the different shapes which are still there when it's not just like black and white. Yeah, to see those subtle shifts in form and to find a way to so I guess draw and express them in a more subtle way. Which is something that's really helpful, I think, with like oil painting. I haven't done much oil painting for a while, since last year. But understanding the kind of different areas and patches of value is it's a really fun way to learn and start to understand the forms that we look at. And it's something that I think is really great with ink, just reducing the kind of value range. And we could do that much more immediately. It could have just been black and white and no hatching and shading, no shadow mapping, to just squint, reduce it to 2 values, and then just draw it like that. It's a super cool exercise. And just talking about that now, I think maybe that's going to be a really fun thing to do more of, like in Inktober, to really, yeah, get into that inky mindset. I think. So like sometimes use ink, it's possible to use ink in a more painterly manner, I guess, where you're doing a lot of subtle stuff. I think there's so much variety and so much possibility to do so many different things with ink. So it's going to be a lot of fun just to explore that and kind of the way that I use ink and see how other people use ink, and then I'll learn from each other. Because I'm just thinking the way I'm drawing at the moment, I think is quite far removed from how I was drawing when I first started using ink, which was just like ink and a brush, and it was black ink, and it was not homemade. It was just like this store-bought Indian ink, super black. 2 value, your paper color and your ink. And so I think returning to that kind of the origins of my experience with ink, I think that will be a fun way to get into Inktober, and I guess share what has been really valuable for me in my kind of learning experience with ink. Yeah, Dawn. Gris is amazing, and he's prolific. Is doing so much. What's his Instagram? Gris30 or something. But he's been to my Tuesday portrait sessions a few times, and he does a lot of live stream drawing, sketching stuff, and it just does so much, and so much urban sketching, and has a really cool, fast style and a really nice approach. Is really cool. Yeah, and there are so many amazing, talented people coming and drawing together. Many of them are here. It's just been such a fun way, sketchy, and the Tuesday night portrait sessions. such a fun way to get together and, oh, look at that bleed. That's cool. That will kind of, maybe do some more of that. Give a really clear sense of contrast. Oh, that's still really wet and cool. That was a interesting thing. Yeah, because so far this picture is kind of lacking a lot in contrast, and that inkiness that I guess I'm referring to, that kind of dark, splotchy, permanent, intimidating intensity, sometimes intimidating, and it just, oh, this is cool, like adding a lot of contrast and I guess definition to that form which was established in the beginning. And now as we're winding towards the end, it's fun to go back into that wetness which has been pooling there and utilize it to kind of create some more impact, to some more contrast to this drawing, which is fun. Cool. Johnny, yeah, bring the class on Tuesday. I'm totally looking forward to meeting them and drawing with them. It'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait to have you there. And that kind of, I guess the quick speed drawing, sketchy live drawing stuff, such good practice, and it's something which I used to be really, I guess, have respect or be a bit intimidated about live drawing and having people kind of look over my shoulder and stuff, and there are so many things that have come together to just kind of change, I guess, the way I feel about that. And just doing a lot of live fast drawing, it's just something to, and I think I don't know, at some stage when I was learning, I guess I was like, I wanted things to be really good all the time, and they weren't good all the time, and then I would not be really happy with it, and I guess just by doing a lot and just doing it together with people, and everyone's sketching and all in it together, and sometimes they're awesome and sometimes maybe I'm not so happy with it or anyone, but just to be creating together and doing it a lot kind of gives the confidence to just, and I guess the body of experience to just go for it and do it, draw in a more kind of relaxed way. And maybe some people have that kind of relaxed approach from the get-go, and but it certainly hasn't always been the case for me. So yeah, drawing together, drawing as part of a community, sketchy, just getting out in life. I was thinking it'd be cool in this new village. There's all this sandstone around, and there's these like old German fairy tale houses all over the place with this timber frame. This kind of awesome like fairy tale houses. And I thought I'd love to do some drawing here, and just to get out and get into the world and experience the place where you are by drawing it and by making art supplies from it. I think it's such a fun way to connect, and then and with the people that inhabit that place as well. It's often a nice way to get in contact with people. There's some really cool stuff happening over here, where it's just kind of like branches grown out. It's not happening everywhere, but I really like that. I think it was really wet, the way the ink has kind of gone out there. That's cool. And where I am, it's 8 o'clock, so looks like that's about it for today. This has been a fun journey together. I wasn't really aware the whole time where this journey was leading. This portrait of Arthur. Thank you very much, Arthur, for being our muse. And thank you to everyone who's been watching along and drawing along. I would love to see your work, so make sure that you can use the hashtag ink naturally, even if you're not using natural ink, or tag me on Instagram and Sketchy. And as things with moving, things start to settle down, now we have a kitchen and we're arriving at our place, and then I'm going to be a bit more accessible again. So I look forward to hearing from you and seeing your work. Yeah, and sign up for the Inktober 2020 Portrait Challenge, which is going to be totally exciting. I'm really keen to learn from Arto and Vin, and happy to be able to share with you all. Just wanting to say any kind of final kind of bold things I can do here that's just going to make it feel finished for now. Sometimes you have like this clear kind of feeling when you feel like, yeah, I can call this finished even though it's not. Sometimes you don't. How's everyone else been going? If you're still watching and still drawing along, I hope you've had an interesting time and had fun drawing together. Okay, I think I have to go and put my kids to bed, so I should stop drawing. Charlotte, I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Sign up for portraits because you came to the Tuesday drawing session, if that's what you mean. You can follow the same link again to come any Tuesday. Dean, that's so nice that you were finishing your drawing for Mike's class and that you enjoy my calming voice in the background. So that's cool. I'm happy to be able to share my calming voice with you. So Charlotte, yeah, you can perhaps contact me through Instagram. Any of you can write to me on Instagram. Yeah, drop me some comments and direct messages. It's nice to connect and talk. And I'll see you somewhere on the internet. and have a wonderful week. And I'll be thinking up ideas for the upcoming Ink Naturally class and for Inktober. So if you have any, the October Ink Fest, it's going to be great. So anyone's got any ideas, then feel free to share them with me. I'm really excited to get into the exciting prompt list and just to be drawing together with a huge community of artists from around the world. All right, that's it for today. Thank you. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. See you next time, or maybe see you Tuesday.